Hi, this is Graphically Alex coming at you with all things fat related. If that's something that interests you, please subscribe. I'd love to have you. It is the morning. We are back. I woke up today with a nice anxiety attack. I don't want to get into it because it's just all a part of my mid-sized princess experience. It's a lot of drama that has nothing to do with probably anything happening, for one, which makes me mad. And for two, it has nothing to do with my weight. So there's no point in me talking about it because I'm just freaking. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if my hormones just took a shit. I don't know if it's the impending Venus retrograde. I don't know what it is. Blame it on whatever you want. But either way, bad mood. Perfect time to do this. Perfect time to react to this. So let's just get into it. I'm not going to delay it any further. By the way, my brain is still mush. I'm trying to film the best days. Apparently, gym days and the day after the gym are now off. So I'm going to have to be filming a lot, kind of combine, because the days that I can film are getting less and less because my brain turns into cottage cheese, dopamine-wise, as well. So if I sound like I'm slurring my speech, or if I sound weird, or if it's the dopamine. So we show things in real time here. This isn't a production. I am actually losing the weight. There are actually some side effects and all these things. You get to see it. Let me just add it to the list of reasons why I think a lot of people don't lose weight publicly. I'm already not that gifted with speech, so... And I am having some hella low dopamine brain mush time. So anyways, let's get into this.
For them, they're resting. They're taking care of themselves.
Rotting.
When a fat person rests, they're lazy.
Yeah. Well, and maybe I feel this more because, I consider myself a late bloomer, etc. But good fatties are desirable. Good fatties date people. Good fatties, and I think it's just... Here's the thing and before we get into bad fatties that I want to say, I once had someone say this to me, and I think this is what a lot of people feel, is they feel like diet culture tells them to eat the salad, and fat acceptance tells them that they eat the salad, they're bending to diet culture, and they're whatever. I want to say, no, it doesn't have to be that. The question that I think Fat Liberation asks you to consider is, are you eating this because you want to, because you like it, because you find value in it, whether it's nutrition, etc.? Or are you eating it because you feel like if you eat something else, you'll be judged?
Yes, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Like earlier, Melissa and I were watching TV, and a Zaxby's commercial came on, and they have a new salad. And I'm a big fan of Zaxby's salads. And it was...
So I think the thing that irritates me about this aspect, which, by the way, you guys, that witch hat is probably within a half step of coming out. I am already so irritated so fast by them, just by how slow it is, kind of. It's, like I said, I'm borderline should be low-key wearing Georgie today, but I'm not going to. It's not that bad. But it's low-key should be wearing the yellow hoodie. It's pretty bad. What I will say is, I don't like how much they blame the judgment of other people, or this perceived judgment of other people. The most of the time within toxic ritualistic, you're playing games with yourself. It's very, very, there are some interpersonal aspects which I am working to cover this year, but most of the time it's intrapersonal. It's your internal monologue. So it's you saying, oh, if I get this, then they're going to think this, and if I don't get this, then they're going to think that. That's you. A lot of times it doesn't require anybody else to say anything. You're doing it anyways. And people will be like, well, it happened before. Yes, it can happen once. It happened once 5 years ago and you hold on to it. Or it happened to Jessica Simpson in the early 2000s and it's now 20 years later and you're still concerned about something that didn't even happen to you. I mean, do you see the levels of reaching within the disorder? Something doesn't even have to happen to you and it could happen 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. If you seek, you will find. If you look for something, you will find it. It's just an excuse. It's just a way to to focus your anxiety on something else. That's all it is. It's not real. As I said this morning, I have a lot of anxiety about something, but guess what? It has nothing to do. It's not life or death. Like I said, it's kind of high school. I'm in my so high school era. I'm irritating myself, but it has nothing to do with my weight, nothing to do with diet, nothing at all, not even a little bit. I'm sure if I was still trying to be all like extra about it, I could probably try to make some kind of connection, but literally the only connection I can possibly do is my hormones may be a little meh, making me a little bit more anxious or paranoid today. But that's it. The rest of it is just my own stuff that has nothing to do with it. And again, hormones on a diet or something, especially at this level, it's just a slight push. I'm already anxious. It doesn't take much. But like I said, it has nothing to do. Nothing. And I think that for people that are in the disorder, it's really hard to have something like that. To just be like, oh, this has nothing to do with it. And honestly, today's anxiety has nothing to do with it. It just doesn't. It's personal stuff. It's emotional. It's probably some past trauma. Well, quote unquote trauma. It's not even really trauma. It's Venus. It's Venus bullshit for my astrological girly pops. I think it's like I'm just struggling about something emotional and gay in high school. And it has nothing to do with anything else. I wish I could talk about it. I wish it was relevant, but it's not. But that's the whole point. I'm telling you, it ain't relevant. That's the thing. And I posted a video yesterday about like mid-sized projection and these kinds of things. And it's like somebody commented and they're like, I think we get so used to not liking things about ourselves and just blaming it on our body the whole time. And it's like, when you aren't that big anymore, you can't really do that anymore. And I agree. I'm irritating myself a lot. But that self-irritation, I can easily take out on them. So let's continue.
And I literally...
She didn't get that promotion. Zaxby's sponsor.
Hey, Zaxby's, hit me up. I love those new tacos, too. But no, and it was this new salad, and I was like, oh my God, I want to try that salad. Because I just want to try the salad, because I like salads, right? There was a time in my life, though, that it
But
was...
it's not a big deal. And it's probably not even that healthy anyways, if you're trying to be all like, oh, it's so healthy. Those dressings are trash. It's trash. I'm sorry. I'm going to call it out. So.
Is like...
All you allowed yourself
First
to
of all,
eat.
there was no way I could have that fucking salad, because that looks too delicious, right? But also it's like, oh, I'm going out with my real estate team. Gotta have
My
a salad.
hypo girlies and boilies do not have those dressings. Please do not. It is not good for you.
Salad, everybody's ordering lunch today. Gotta get a salad.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what are you eating today? Mine has this many calories. Like, how many points is yours? Like, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think the one thing I keep coming back to when it comes to like...
I swear there has to be some kind of correlation between BED and Weight Watchers. I really think I honestly feel like it's almost a requirement of the disorder. Like, it's almost like you have to have gone to Weight Watchers. It should almost be a diagnostic criteria for psychologists. I feel like it is that much of a correlation. It is just crazy. Which I don't, I'm very skeptical about like community-based things around these issues, because there is such a reinforcement element to it. So I'm very skeptical. I think in a lot of situations we think like, oh, group support, it can be a great thing, like all these different things. But it's really not. A lot of the times in terms of E fall by the letter D, it's not good. Like, I do have a sort of accountability partner. Like, we say that very loosely and kind of gaily. Me and Lisa kind of report to each other how we're doing. But she doesn't have the disorder at all. She never did. And I think in that situation, it can be helpful. But it's like, again, I just don't think this isn't something that people check for. Like for me, Lisa's kind of cool or even cold, logical approach to weight loss, it helped me. Because if there's any residuals, if there's anything, like obviously I could listen to her because I wasn't in the disorder. If I was, I'd be like, she's wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. And then I would just do whatever. I wasn't in it, but it's like, I just feel like, like for me, like if somebody was in it, I just think there'd be a lot of conflict. And I don't think I would actually get any support on my end. I may be able to support them, but I wouldn't get any. I feel like you kind of have to consider that. I think it can be helpful, like if you're getting out of it, to work with somebody that never had it. That can be helpful. But it's like, otherwise, I don't know how helpful it is. Like a Weight Watchers meeting. Like I've seen it fail so many times. For example, I just don't know. Because this disorder, interpersonally, it's a very crabs in the bucket type of thing. Like I said, I don't see it as an addiction, but there are a lot of similarities. Like I can understand why people think it's the same, but it's not. It's not in terms of the mechanism behind it, but in terms of the behaviors and like the secrecy, the crabs in the bucket mentality, like all these different things, there are a lot of similarities, especially I would say to alcoholism. It is similar. Different, but similar. Things can be similar, but different, in terms of the actual mechanism. But it's like that crabs in the bucket thing, it's big. It's a major, major part of it. And even like along the spectrum, I've talked about, people can reinforce it along the spectrum. So people who are more restrictive, like let's say a restrictive person is trying subconsciously to reinforce it in a, binge person, they'll say things like, oh, that's just how you're meant to be. Oh, just do you. Or they'll be like, or they'll put on these really, really strict standards. Well, you should be losing faster. Why aren't you losing faster? That's ridiculous. I did that in 2 seconds. These kinds of things. It's like, in reality, both of those are wrong. Both of those reinforce. So I think it's really important to just consider, like, it's a tricky thing because when you're super morbidly obese, people who are not or who have never been don't understand it. But also, a lot of people that are super morbidly obese have the disorder. So it leaves you in this kind of minefield where it's really hard and you do feel alone a lot, especially having left the disorder. You feel alone, especially when you're very big because you don't have anybody that can like understand you, or you feel that way a lot of the time. And I hope that this channel can be a kind of space like that because I do understand both. But I'm not gonna lie, it has been helpful to partner with somebody who never had it, who always viewed weight loss coldly and logically, and I was able to kind of help her with some of the hormonal aspects due to some of the research and experimentation that I had done, as she has PCOS. And so we've really helped each other and with good result, but it's like, how common is that? How common do accountability partners work out? I don't know. I wish the numbers were better. I do. But, unfortunately, I think for most people, they're going to have to kind of piece things apart, You have to kind of probably understand that being super morbidly obese or even morbid, you're in a different situation physically, but also you need to probably have an accountability partner that didn't have the disorder, or certainly that doesn't. because otherwise it can turn into very strange. It can go to the sewers with I almost said jigsaw. Well, maybe we'll add jigsaw in there, but also Pennywise. It can turn into Pennywise really quickly, and so honestly, I think for most people, like even for myself, when I was first getting out of it, I did it alone, and people don't want to hear that, and it's like, I'm sorry, but you're probably gonna have to do it alone, a lot of the time. I think most people will, and I'm sorry about that. I wish it was different, and like I said, maybe things can change in the future. Maybe things should change, but I think a lot of the ways that we think about therapy, they're not helpful for this type of thing. When you get a bunch of people that have the disorder together, they just like reinforce and drag each other down. Honestly, I wish it was different. I wish that wasn't the case, but you can see it just on this podcast. You can see how they are just constantly reinforcing it in each other all the time.
Just people feeling like they fall into this pit between good fatty, bad fatty, and nothing they do is quote unquote right.
Yeah.
Is that we have to know, like, this whole idea of good fatty, bad fatty is a social construct where we place values on things.
Yes.
And it is bigger than us individually, right? And it's all about the pressures we feel to perform something, because there is times where I felt so frustrated with diet culture, etc., that literally if you told me to eat the salad, I'm ordering 3 cakes, okay? And like, I need you to leave me the fuck alone because I need to exercise my agency. Like, it just felt like
It's giving E followed by the letter D. Just want you to know that.
I didn't have
love
agency,
that.
and I had to, right? And like,
Part
there
of the
is
disorder
somewhere
for
where
a lot of people, especially on the BING side, is rebellion. Rebellion is a major trigger, a feeling of wanting to rebel. Typically, when you have a lifestyle or a life that is very rigid or very structured, regimented, you don't feel like you have a lot of freedom. It can be a similar rebellion. You know that what you're doing is wrong, and that's exactly why you're doing it, because it's wrong. And that's why I told you guys, like in the small fat video I did, the brat lane, there's a lot of people that are going to need that kind of rebellious brat energy, because I'm that way too. I can be really rebellious. I like to be countercultural a lot. Like I've definitely been one of those girly pops throughout most of my life. Like when I was in junior high, everybody loved Green Day and I hated them. I'm just always one of those. I was always one of those. So the brat lane really helped, but I'm just saying that the feeling of wanting to rebel is major in BINGE. I'm sure it is in some respects on the other sides of the spectrum as well, but I know on this side it's major. You are doing it precisely because you know it's wrong. That's exactly why, and she's just touching on that.
I get freed from both of that, and I pick to eat what I want to eat, the amount I want to eat.
The first 2 months of me in eating disorder recovery with Taryn went so well.
Just remember that when it comes to eating, you're usually doing what you want anyways. So that in and of itself is a construct, and that is part of the disorder. Is you feel like you're not in control, so you have to take control. You are, unless if you're being locked up in a basement or you're in a famine, you're in control. That's precisely usually the major trigger of the disorder, is feeling out of control. And that goes across the whole spectrum. It's a control thing. That's why I don't like the addiction label either, because addiction is about being out of control. This disorder is about being in control. It is the opposite. Like I said, tell them, you're going to eat what I tell you to eat, and they won't want to do it. They're going to say, no, I don't want that. They're going to be like Anna O'Brien. I don't want that bagel. I want this kind of bagel, because it's a control thing. That's not an addict. You think that they care what kind of DRUG you give them? They don't care. If it's their substance, they're going to want it. You think there are people who drink mouthwash, for example. This disorder isn't like that. It's a control thing. I want this specific thing at this specific time with this specific ritual that I do. And I don't want any deviation from it. And if you mess it up, then I'm going to punch you in the face. I mean, literally, that's how angry people will get, or that's how anxious people will get about it. Or they'll cuss you out or something, like, because they're so anxious. That's when it's really bad. But I'm just saying, that's what it is. It's like, I want it this way. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what I have to do. If you tell me to get a salad, I'm going to get 3 slices of cake. And it's like, whoa, you know? And I'd be like, okay, well, I'll choose the flavors of cake for you. That would ruin it for her. I'm telling you, it would ruin it. It would ruin it. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to give you cake, but I'm going to choose the flavor. I don't want that flavor. I don't care. I'm going to choose this flavor of cake. She would lose her shit. She would lose it. I'm telling you. This thing is really tricky. But that is psychological. It's not physical. I'm telling you. That's why I keep trying to tell you guys how it is. This is how it is. This is the mechanism. This is how it works. It's a control thing. You want to be in control. If you're not in control, it freaks you out, scares the person. And like I said, then they could, like I said, depending on how bad it is, they could try to they probably would just shout. That's probably what they do, is they yell. They'd start yelling.
Because all she went was, what are your favorite foods? And I was like, girl,
so
I
she's
love
talking
Thai
about her recovery, and I guess her therapist is like, what is your favorite food? Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent.
She's like, great. Put ice cream in the house.
Yeah.
I was like, no, I'm going to eat it all. She's like, okay, eat it all. What chips do you love? Oh, I love some Cool Ranch Doritos. Great. Buy them. No, I won't. I'll eat the whole bag.
So this is the kind of therapy we're having for this? It's not helpful. It isn't helpful. Because now, what is she doing? She's just using this therapy gobbledygook to justify her behavior. Which clearly, there's an issue. You know, I'm not usually one to be like, let me call out your size or whatever. But in some cases, we have to. She's not just a little bit overweight. She is saying she has health issues that are even causing... She's alluded to having some form of disability, all these different things. There's something clearly wrong. So the therapist being like, have ice cream in the house, do this, do that. I understand kind of what the therapist is trying to do, but it's not about the fucking food. You have to actually talk about the thought process behind it. If I were asking her, I'd say, why do you think you create so much drama around ice cream? Because if you have it or you don't, why does it feel like a life or death thing for you? Because it shouldn't. That's an interesting question. Why can't I'm gonna binge on? Why? Why would you? Because I just can't control myself around it. Why not? You see, it's like you have to actually ask. I'd be like, do you ever get full? You know, you have to ask certain questions when it comes to this type of stuff. If somebody says, no, I never get full, they probably have a hormone issue. There's probably a physical problem going on. Well, are you getting that treated? No, why not? Because, excuses. They would just be excuses. Okay, you know it's abnormal to not get full, right? You should probably look into why you're not. There's probably a physical problem. People don't talk about it that way. It's like you have to kind of break it down, because it's not always that you have these health issues. It's the fact that you don't do anything about them. That's some of the self, HARM aspects of it. Why aren't you taking care of yourself? That's a big question. These are the kinds of questions I think, personally, this is my opinion, what she should be asked in therapy. Not, what's your favorite food? Okay, have ice cream in the house. You're not giving her anything to work with. You're not doing anything. As a therapist, that's being lazy. That's super lazy, in my opinion.
Eat the whole bag. Her whole thing for the first 2 months was allow yourself to have the things you tell yourself you cannot have, and they lose value. It was the craziest thing. If you go in our kitchen right now, it is snack galore because I don't feel like I have to have them. I now know if I want them, I can have them.
Right.
Like that scarcity mindset is gone.
Hey, Fat Fatties fans, let's be real. Too often, we fat babes are left out in the cold.
So I just want to go ahead and say this is kind of like that intuitive eating thing. And a lot of people put on a huge amount of weight. I've actually seen people posting that they gained like 100 pounds from doing this type of thing. I don't think it's very effective whatsoever. I'm just going to be real. I don't think it's effective at all. I think most people will probably gain a huge amount of weight because you're not actually looking at the real mechanisms and reasons behind why you're doing it. So she's saying, oh, I have snacks galore and it doesn't matter. Yes, because she's not particularly anxious at this moment. All it takes is one trigger and she's going to spiral because there's no work done behind it. Zero. And like I said, those triggers, they can be tiny, they can be big. It doesn't matter. Things happen in life all the time. And we can see her weight is not normalizing. She's not figuring it out. And it's still bad to be that weight. But a lot of therapy and treatment and stuff is centered around, well, we don't want you to gain any more. Well, that's not good enough. That's called you're failing as a therapist.
But not anymore. Our sponsor, Snow Country Outerwear, is changing the game.
Would you allow somebody that severely undereats to stay like a skeleton? Most therapists would say no, but it's okay for her to be that big. You're lazy. Lazy therapist.
Functional, stylish pieces made for every body. With sizes 1X to 6X for women and up to 7XL for men, plus customizable fits in short, regular, and tall options, they're making sure we all stay warm and fabulous. Visit their website at snowcountryouterwear.com and get ready to slay no matter the weather.
Yeah, and I have the exact same thing when it comes to scarcity mindset. And like as a kid, not having access to certain foods, and I had siblings, and just certain foods weren't allowed, etc. Like, it creates a weird dynamic.
Yeah.
That once you have access to it, and you know you can, like as an adult, learning I can have the foods I want to have when I want to have them has been a big thing. And then of course, you know, we get finances, whatever. It gets messy again. I did want to say this. I keep getting off track.
She's
This might
majorly,
be,
she's majorly in it. She's having financial issues because she's eating so much. That's also a huge part of BINGE. So I'm like, ooh, that's a huge one there. I think that the biggest thing is understanding that scarcity mindset it's just an excuse. You're not in a scarcity if you're hugely fat. I'm sorry. Like, we need to cut the bullshit. We need to stop. It is ridiculous. So I just don't want to even hear it. I just don't. If you're super huge, you are not in any kind of scarcity. But I will say it is a major trigger. When people talk about poverty being a trigger, it's not the actual poverty, it's after. People often do better and they do worse with money. It's really when you do better. That's a huge trigger for people. So, and it's one that I may have to face at some point, as I have struggled financially. I don't know what the hell. My finances are crazy. I don't even know what I do every day. Like, I don't know how I'm doing this, but that's all I'm going to say. I don't know, but I do predict eventually my finances will get better, and that will be a trigger that I have to deal with at that time. And I'll talk about it, but that is a trigger for a lot of people. I'm dealing with the boredom, but I've really mastered boredom. Trust me on that.
This might be an episode where we're like, is why am I feeling what I'm feeling? What is leading me to that feeling? Okay. So if I'm having the moment where like I'm seeing a salad and I'm like, oh, diet culture says I have it, but then also if I don't eat it, am I just accepting this other alternative? And what's the alternative? And all this other stuff, right? It gets scary. What are you feeling? Why? Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Because I think a lot of us, when we saw the itinerary for this con, the con itself doesn't matter. Why are we having the experience? Why are we having that reaction, right? And I think we're having it because we are fat people who think a lot about our fat existence.
Yeah.
Yes. And we also care about the way
It's because you have a disorder.
fatness.
That's a better way to put it. It's not fat people who think about our fat experience. It's somebody who obsesses over their body. That's what it is, which is a major part of this too, which also doesn't correlate to addiction, which is also why it's not an effective comparison, because there typically is not any kind of body image thing within anything, and this completely depends on it. You see how obsessed they are.
Shaped by community.
Well, and I think too, it's very important. It's at least very important for me because we know that I read the troll comments a little too much sometimes. But
Sometimes.
I've been very good lately.
Good.
But I've had other things on my mind. I think that's something for me that it's like there have been so many comments I've seen and these videos from these very mediocre men on the internet that are just like, God, they just talk about their bodies all the time. Like, that's all they care about is being fat. That's all they think about. Like, we're taking up...
It's true. And would you guys consider yourselves mediocre women? Because I would. I'm just going to put that out there. I know that was harsh, but I'm just saying, I don't think you should be judging others that much when this podcast is so, so boring. It's blowing my mind how boring it is. I'm just telling you, and I get that some of it is that I am in a low dopamine state, but those mediocre men are on fucking point with y'all. You guys are obsessed. Obsessed.
So much free rent in their head because that's all they think about. You don't understand. Our whole lives, that was the first thing you think about when you wake up, and the last thing you think about before you go to bed is what...
It's called a disorder. That's not normal. I just want you to understand that isn't normal. You can try to make an excuse. You can try to say, oh, it's this, or oh, it's other people's fault, or oh, it's the media, or oh, it's this. It's you. It's a choice. You're choosing. You are choosing to be obsessed. It is a choice. You do not have to obsess over it. You don't. That's all bullshit. That's an excuse. That's not real. So it's this crazy thing. We have these minds. We can think. We can choose what we think about. It's truly incredible. If I want to think about the color red right now, I can think about the color red. If I want to think about the color blue, I can think about the color blue. It's truly incredible. It doesn't matter what the media says. I can think about whatever color I want to. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. I can think about whatever color I want. And nobody even has to know. Like I said, it's called rebelling against the disorder. You can refuse to engage, refuse to think about it. Say, no, I'm not thinking about this. No, I'm not thinking about it. Even if you try to think about it 40 times, you can say no every single time. No, 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 no. No, I'm not doing it, not doing it, not doing it, not doing it. You have to repeat yourself a lot in the disorder. It's a lot, but it's a very repetitive thing. But it's like, you can say no every single time. Every single time. So this is an excuse.
What am I wearing tomorrow? What am I going to eat tomorrow? Because I don't, for me, when I was on, I don't know, my 10th diet in a row, it's like, okay,
And how long ago was that? How long ago was that 10th diet? How long You know, are we going to like it is 20 years ago and we're talking about having Special K cereal for breakfast and lunch back in 2004, 2005? It's ridiculous. It is truly ridiculous how far people will take this stuff. How long ago was that diet? I mean, these people act like a diet in and of itself is a trauma. It's not. That is ridiculous. But again, the whole point of the disorder is to take trauma and put it into eating behaviors and body image. That's the whole point. But realize you're putting emotion into it. You're taking something else and putting it into something it doesn't belong. And it's dangerous. It isn't smart. It isn't cute. It's not quirky. It's not funny. It's not #relatable. It's stupid. It is completely stupid and dangerous and self-destructive with zero benefit. No credence, nothing. Nope. No credit. It is dumb. Period. End of sentence. End of discussion. There's no reason to entertain it. And I need y'all to stop entertaining these women. I see it all the time. Well, well, the media this, No, it's bullshit. Well, you're being too harsh. I don't care. I'm not going to reinforce it on this channel. And you shouldn't either. I will fight you on it, actually, if you want to do that. I'm not changing the way I talk about it. It's not helpful to be gushy and, oh, what's your favorite food? Oh, put the ice cream in your house. That's not going to do shit for this. That isn't going to do anything for this.
Two scoops of, I don't know, something I like, whatever. But like, just, it's all consuming. It's all consuming. It's all like.
It's a disorder.
Yeah, of course we think about our bodies all the time because everybody.
But we were programmed that
Our
way.
society.
It's everyone else's fault. No, it's your fault. You are thinking about it. You are choosing to think about it. Maybe it's some ways, maybe it's the company you keep. They keep bringing it up to you constantly. You should consider that then. You could even say, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to think about it. I'm done. I think this is dumb. I don't want to talk about this. It is kind of boring, you know, and even if you do talk about it, you can talk about it for 5 minutes and then you have the whole rest of the 24 hours to not talk about it. You know, like I can talk about body or whatever. Like I talk about it with Eric sometimes and we talk about it for like 5 minutes or something and then we go about our day. That's normal. But for somebody who maybe is like freshly getting out, maybe they can't do that or maybe they shouldn't for a while. You know, it becomes normal after a while. Your brain kind of rewires because when you stop obsessing about it, your brain kind of changes and it's like you start to like look at other things and you start to realize how boring it is. It's really boring. It really, really is. It's a very boring thing. And, you know, I've realized, especially this year, like I think a lot about like my teenage years and I think so much of my disorder was due to being bored as hell. It was a way to create drama out of nothing. And I find that same drive to do it now. And I'm still doing that. And it's like, oh gosh, that is really stupid. But now at least I'm just making drama that isn't dangerous. You know, it's just I'm tripping about stuff. Oh gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just doing that, but it has no connection to my eating behavior. So it's not dangerous. It isn't dangerous to be dramatic. It's dangerous to have this disorder. You have to get this shit off of this. Off of how you have to get it off of your behavior around food and your body. It is dangerous. Once you do that, oh honey, the places you will go. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying, like, it is what it is at that point. Then you just have anxiety. And anxiety isn't going to kill you. You can work it out. You can figure it out. But it's like, it's a choice. It is a choice.
one that might be the very first thing they catalog about us.
Might.
It is. Sure, it is.
Yeah.
If someone needed to explain who I am to someone who hasn't seen me, they're going to go, a fat white woman.
But that's the thing.
You know?
It's like that literally. How did that become the biggest descriptor, right? But because we live in a society obsessed.
It's
with
because
size.
that's all you talk about, literally. And it's also something you choose. Again, I'm going to say it. You choose to be that big. You do. It is a choice. People hate it when I say that too, but it is a choice. You choose to have that. That's a part of the disorder. You want it to be the most defining thing. Like, you know, I'm in the mids now. I don't have that anymore. And it's a little jarring, but I'm okay. Because it's not that great to have being fat as your biggest descriptor. It's really boring. It's not a replacement for personality. It isn't. It's boring. Y'all are boring. Very, very boring. This podcast, I mean, gosh, I don't know how people watch this. At least I'm here to just like yell at you guys and that can breathe some life into it. But honestly, I don't know how the hell anybody could just watch this. You guys are so boring.
We live in a society obsessed with size, with looks, with vanity. And so it's very much
It's a society, but it's not you. Okay.
That's like the number one thing. It's like,
Well-
oh yeah, she's a fat girl. And yeah, we do identify as fat girls now because we spend our
Because
whole
you
lot-
choose to be that big. You choose. That's why. And how do I know? Because I can tell because of how you talk about it. It's weird. It's not normal. Most people hear you guys say this and they think, what the hell is that? Huh? What are you talking about? It's disordered. You're choosing this.
lives being terrified to be fat girls.
Well, and as 3 white girls, it is the
Yes,
one
but
thing that...
you're so special and you're so different and you're exceptional because you're not scared, quote unquote, even though you totally are, because it's all you talk about. It's like you guys are not exceptional for being huge. You're just not. Even the way they talked about those mediocre men. What are you then? What are you?
It marks us off of the, you know, privileged
Sure.
majority of the nation, you know. I'm wondering now, like, what did y'all think when you hear bad fatty?
Literally the opposite. The opposite.
I already I already told y'all. Bad fatty is the fatty that actually loses the weight. That's a bad fatty. That's bad. Bad.
We would consider
They want you to, society would want, if you go based on society, quote unquote, which is stupid and I can't even with this, but let's play this game. If you went based on society, society would want you to marginally lose some weight or to be in a constant state of losing the weight. They don't want you to actually lose it if you're going by society. There are going to be people who support you, of course, but there's so many like you who would be so upset and so pissed and they try to, you know, I don't know if they would ever interact with me directly, but they'd call me a mediocre. They'd be like, oh, you're mediocre. Well, I wear it. I wear it loudly and proudly. I told you guys I am mid, I am mediocre. I don't care. Mediocre isn't going to kill me. Mediocre is boring, but whatever. It's not like this isn't boring. Better mediocre than dead. Put it to you that way. And I don't know if they'd be able to say anything to that. But I'm just saying. I may be maybe mid, maybe mediocre, but I'm alive. I'm alive. I can fit on a plane. I can find clothes. I can not feel like I'm dying every day. I can breathe when I go to sleep. I'm almost not obese. And how mediocre is that? You're not even obese.
For the three of us bad fatties, right?
I don't actually.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah. And so I say that like technically, I don't actually.
Let's be real. The witch hat has been on the whole time. I'm just going to put it on. This is more symbolic. It's been here all along. I was wearing the herbology shirt today. I was a hidden witch.
Think that, but technically, like I look at us, how society views us, right? We eat what we want. We
blaming society, blaming everybody else. It's you. It's you. It's you. Hi. You're the problem. It's you. It's you. Hi.
Move if we want to, we don't move if we want to, right?
Little Debbie.
Yeah, we wear crop tops. We don't, cover our bellies. We don't care about being good fatties, right?
Okay, yeah. I'm with you. I think I was wording it differently in my head, meaning that we don't shy away from stereotypes.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah.
Clearly. Sorry. That's what this whole thing is.
I laid on the couch and did nothing yesterday.
Hell yeah.
And that's what
Hell
I did.
yeah. Reinforce those stereotypes. Totally. That's not mediocre, you guys. That's totally exceptional. Isn't it incredible how exceptional they are? They don't care. Ooh, we're going to lay on the couch all day. Wow. I'm so accomplished. Wow, I really did something. Wow, I'm amazing. We live up to all the stereotypes. Look at this face. We live up to all the stereotypes. We're so amazing. We're not like those mediocre men. We do whatever we want, quote unquote, even though we don't, because we do whatever the disorder says, but don't say that part out loud because that's not real, according to them. We do whatever our disorder wants us to. Ooh. We're a stereotype. Ooh.
I think whenever I see like a fat person out in the world and you can see that they have their
a fat
diabetes.
person out in the world. When I see a fat person out in the world, I don't think anything. And I will say that is the most liberating thing about not being disordered. I don't give a fuck. I don't think about it. I just don't. I just live my life. At least now when I trip, I'm tripping about myself. I'm tripping about actual personality traits I have, actual things about myself. I'm tripping about my own manufactured drama in my own life that has nothing to do with my size. It's just, like I said, basic, boring, mediocre, but at least that's my life now. It's just boring. I made it. Look, Mom, I made it. I made it to being boring as hell. And I think if you get comfortable with that, it can really help because, then maybe I can be exceptional in things, but in the future, but it's like, it's okay. It's okay to just have normal concerns. It's fine. You're going to make it. You're going to be all right.
Little thing on the back of their arm.
Sensors.
A sensor. I am like, there's a part of me that's just like, go you for taking care of your health regardless of the fact that people are going to see that and put stigma on you, because like a bad fatty has the medical things that go along with fatness, right? And it's why a lot of fat people don't seek treatment or want to shy away from it. Diabetes, sleep apnea, etc. Right? It doesn't only affect fat people, but it's in
stereotypes
in the discourse of our society.
It's correlations. It's not stereotypes. Oh my gosh, that is so stupid.
And it's very much like I mean, I think there's so many different ways that you can.
They don't
be
even know
considered
what a
bad
stereotype is. You guys need to get it together. I'm sorry. A stereotype is something like you're lazy. Having sleep apnea is not a stereotype. That is a correlation. That's a physical thing. Not being able to fit in a seat is not a stereotype. It's a correlation.
fatty, but it really does boil down to what you said, Alyssa. Like it's rejecting the stereotypes and
I thought we just said it
not
was living up to
performing.
him.
Not performing, right? It's going out with your diet obsessed real estate team and you order a burger. And it's like, I hope you guys enjoy your salads. This is what I really wanted. And I fucking love it. You know, it's rejecting when people say to you, like, oh my God, I can't.
You don't have to be fat to eat a burger. I mean, this is just like, oh gosh. This is really cringy.
Believe you're gonna eat that? You're gonna get that? Like, you know, like
I know it may shock you, but there are people who are not fat that eat a burger all the time. There are people who are not fat that eat what they want. I mean, they may have some health issues if they're just eating a bunch of crap all the time, but it has more to do with the amount of food that you're eating, particularly in the week, if you want to get technical. Which that's where a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, my friend can eat whatever they want and they never gain weight. It's because they're not eating a lot every single day. It's throughout the week. And you're just seeing them on that one day that they're eating more. But that's boring again. Sorry to ruin the magic for you.
oh, I wish I could have that. No, you can. You can. It's like, oh, I'm being bad. No.
Yeah, I don't think you don't need to talk about it that way. I think it's kind of cringy to talk about it that way. But I mean, like I said, if you eat a bunch of crap all the time, you're gonna feel like crap. That's just a fact. It doesn't matter. You can feel like crap at any size too. So
It makes me think immediately people that say glorifying obesity, right? And the glorifying obesity, literally, whenever that is used, it is anytime you are laughing, showing connections with friends and family or loved ones or
being
a partner.
happy
Being
in
happy.
a fat body.
Being happy in a fat body without.
whoa, you guys, I've never heard that before. Did you guys hear that? That was exceptional. That wasn't a mediocre take at all. That was crazy. My mind was just blown. I have never heard that in all my time of fighting against fat activism. I have never heard that talking point. That was genius. Genius. I'm blown away. Blown away.
Without being like, I had to do something to earn this. Eating food and enjoying the food.
In general.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, if I posted a picture of myself eating that fucking Zaxby's salad, oh my God, can you believe how many calories are in that salad? Like, you can't fucking win, so why?
You fucked that up.
Yeah.
How many calories are in that salad is what you should have said.
Damn it. But for real, you know what I mean? Like, it's like you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, so I'd rather be a bad fatty.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that's where like the movement
Oh,
thing comes in,
honey,
right? 'Cause,
you
like, if
do
you're-
exactly what people want you to do. Please. I'd rather be a bad fatty. What are you doing that's actually subversive? You really think like you're really doing something? You're some kind of resistance because you put on a crop top? All it is a lot of people think it doesn't look good. You cannot look good when you're thin. You can be like, you can wear some ugly clothes if you're thin. That has nothing to do with being fat. That's just something not looking that great. I mean, it's like, this isn't exactly like give me liberty or give me death type of stuff. This is very like pedestrian stuff. No, you want to be a real rebel, you get out of the disorder. And you see all the people that are still in it, they're going to be pissed. They get pissed. They don't like it. That's being an actual rebel. Then you do what I do. I do it publicly, loudly, aggressively. I rhetorically weaponize the fact that I've lost weight. That is really bad, fatty. I am really bad. And The worst thing is to get out of it, to not be fat anymore. And like I said, I didn't just lose weight. I did it loudly, publicly, and I'm still doing it. And I'm now using the fact that I'm not fat anymore rhetorically against y'all. That's a really bad fatty. That is very rebellious in terms of this issue. Because I can tell you, that's what people don't want to see. They don't want that. They want me to say, oh my gosh, I was just lucky. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I just got out. I guess I was just lucky. I'm just exceptional. I'm the 5%. You know, William's right, the 95%. I'm the lucky one. I don't even know. And then they want me to be like, now that I've lost the weight, it isn't even good. Everything sucks. I hate everything now that I lost it. Oh gosh, I don't know. Oh, that's what they want. That's what people want. I don't do that. I'm like, no, most things are better. Most things are genuinely better. I literally have to manufacture drama because my life is just boring because there isn't a lot going on. Which again, that's not exactly glamorous, but it's the truth. I tell the truth. You know, I gotta fill in the blanks here. It's not always fun. It isn't always fun, but it's not always miserable. I actually got into a better position on the channel. A year ago, I was tortured. I was constantly sad. And in 2023, I was really suffering with health issues. You guys could see it. Those of you who have been around that long, you could see. And you can see that I don't anymore. Look at how things changed. That's a bad fatty. Things changed. I'm talking about pedestrian Venus BS at the beginning of this video. I'm not talking about, oh, I feel so sick today. Oh, gosh. Oh, I might have to take a break. I might not be able to do this anymore. I don't do that. I don't take a break. I don't have to. Why don't I have to? You guys remember how much I used to suffer in the winters? I posted every single day this January. For those of y'all that have been around longer, I never could do that prior to this year. And it speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. And that's a part of my rhetoric too, is showing all these little subtle aspects behind it. I don't have to take a break. Anyways, you guys, I'm going to leave it at that. We will get back to this next week when I can film in the morning again. I'll see you later. Bye.